Royalty has impressed US President Donald Trump before, which is why British Prime Minister Keir Starmer came to the White House with something special in his pocket. A royal invitation to Trump to visit Britain again, this time from King Charles. It was designed to sway him into giving Starmer security guarantees for Ukraine, but Trump shrugged off the pleas for more American military support. Both the UK and France have offered to deploy peacekeeping troops in Ukraine, but with US guarantees of help. Still, Starmer complimented Trump's efforts to end the war in Ukraine.
Mr. President, I welcome your deep and personal commitment to bring peace and to stop the killing. You've created a moment of tremendous opportunity to reach a historic peace deal, a deal that I think would be celebrated in Ukraine and around the world. We agree history must be on the side of the peacemaker, not the invader. So the stakes, they couldn't be higher, and we're determined to work together to deliver a good deal.
Now, DW's London correspondent Birgit Maas joins me now. Birgit, did Starmer get what he wanted in Washington?
Well, the tone was very friendly. You've already alluded to that. It's a charm offensive. And I think in that respect, he was successful. He got compliments out of Donald Trump, and the two men stressed their good relationship with each other and with each other's countries. So the tone was good. When it comes to the substance, a little bit more patchy. So on one hand, Keir Starmer wanted to talk to President Trump about tariffs. And in that respect, he got some positive messages out of the president, who said that even there could be a trade deal in a not too distant future between those two countries. So those are very positive signs, but obviously that's not a trade deal or any business deal yet. So that's just a signal. And then there's an even more difficult issue of Ukraine. So Keir Starmer has offered to send troops to Ukraine in case there is a ceasefire, but he's always maintained that there needs to be a wider context. There needs to be backstop also by the US. And that he really hasn't gotten any firmer commitment from President Trump, who remained very vague. He said that President Putin, if there's a ceasefire, will keep his word. So more or less implying that US troops will not even be needed. So that's something that Keir Starmer and other leaders will still hope to work and get more progress on that front when it comes to security guarantees for Ukraine.
Now, Starmer also gave Trump an invite to Britain from the King. Was this just a symbolic invitation, or is there something more behind it?
No, something real. There was a moment of theatre when Keir Starmer took the envelope out and gave it to President Trump, who then was a little bit confused as to whether he should read it straight away, but then he did. And it seemed that the flattery is working. The president said that he was very much looking forward to the visit. I think the UK side clearly wants to make President Trump feel important. They are stressing also the closeness of the two countries, not only by extending the invitation for a state visit, for a second state visit, which they stressed was unprecedented, that is, a person is coming for a second time. So that's one side of their flattery, but also Keir Starmer mentioned time and again in these press meetings that there is a shared history of those two countries, and implying that there's also a responsibility on the US side to support the UK and in a way also protect the UK.
Thank you very much. Our London correspondent, Birgit Maas there. It looks like after the meeting with the British Prime Minister, Trump's stance on Ukraine's leader Volodymyr Zelenskyy softened a bit. Asked by a journalist if he still believed Zelenskyy was a dictator, Trump said he couldn't believe he had said that.
We have a lot of respect. I have a lot of respect for him. We've given him a lot of equipment and a lot of money, but they have fought very bravely, no matter how you figure it. They have really fought. Somebody has to use that equipment, and they have been very brave in that sense.
And for more on that, let's bring in Maria Marti-Sood, analyst at the European Policy Centre and a former EU and NATO official. She's joining us from Brussels. Maria, what's your take on such a U-turn from Trump?
Hello, thanks for having me. Well, it's very instructive what we may expect from Trump, how depending on the situation, on the circumstances, and whom he is having a conversation with, how quickly he can change his stance in order to adapt. So this is good news. We are learning how to work with Trump, how to approach him. And it also shows the complexity of, what to expect from him, how quickly he can change color, so to say. But overall, I think it speaks of the fact that it's positive, that indeed he has smoothened his, approach to Zelenskyy, and is looking forward to indeed his visit today, I believe.
Now, Starmer said he was ready to put boots on the ground in Ukraine to support any ceasefire. Could such presence of Western peacekeepers actually guarantee any ceasefire?
It remains to be seen. It's difficult to say. And indeed, there are very intense talks among the Europeans, which will be furthered in on the 2nd of March in the very special summit on Ukraine on the 6th of March in the special emergency European Council, that indeed Britain was one of the first countries that came forward by saying that they can deploy troops on land and on air. France is one of those countries as well. Turkey has voiced its inclination to do the same. So indeed, Europeans are trying to show to Trump that they're all in, that they're ready to engage, that they're ready to deploy the troops. But it's still early stage negotiations. And it is also a bit testing, how far US could engage in providing the backstop for this, as well as whether there could be commitment in terms of Article 5 for such a deployment.
Now, Trump said that if there's a truce between Russia and Ukraine, he does not think that Putin will restart the war. Starmer, in turn, expressed doubts about Putin keeping his word. What do you think?
Well, we know Starmer's position very well on Ukraine. We also know Trump's position. So indeed, for Starmer, it's very important that we get this deal right between Ukraine and Russia. He several times talked that it has to stick. So the conditions with which the deal comes are absolutely crucial. Now, Trump seems to be quite self-assured about his relationship with Putin, with Russia overall. And, he reiterated that this crucial rare minerals deal that US signed with Ukraine could potentially provide the economic backstop or security guarantee, since potential American workers would be deployed to these territories of Ukraine.
That was Maria Marti-Soot, analyst at the European Policy Centre. Thank you very much. Now, just as Trump is softening his stance towards Zelenskyy, he will host the Ukrainian president at the White House. The two leaders are to sign a deal today granting the US access to the embattled nation's rare minerals. While it contains no security guarantees, it is seen as cementing US financial interest in an independent Ukraine.
Blasting out wealth from the Ukrainian soil. According to Kyiv, there's much more still waiting underground, including rich reserves of critical minerals. On paper, at least, Ukraine is estimated to have 500,000 tons of lithium, or 1/3 of Europe's reserves, 20% of the world's graphite, as well as the largest reserves of titanium in Europe. Lithium and graphite are both essential for electric car batteries. Ukraine's government says it has enough for 20 million vehicles. Titanium, meanwhile, is in high demand in the aerospace and defence industries, with Ukraine's reserves thought to be equivalent to 15 years of global production. Ukraine also has deposits of other rare minerals important for the manufacture of computers and smartphones. This map, based on Ukrainian government data, shows the location of key deposits throughout the country, including rare earth minerals. But experts say things aren't quite as simple as they look.
There was a lot of talk about lithium and rare earths. And actually, those deposits, the information we have about them is from the Soviet era. We don't really know how reliable that is. We don't know how interesting those deposits are.
Investment is another key hurdle to tapping Ukraine's mineral wealth. To start lithium mining alone would cost hundreds of millions of dollars, with any project taking years to actually start producing. Ukraine doesn't currently export any lithium at all. And unlike in South America's lithium triangle, its deposits are buried in rock, far underground. Other critical minerals pose similar challenges, with long and costly work required to start exploiting them or to ramp up production levels and fix infrastructure crippled by war. With Russian forces still grinding onward and already occupying around 1/5 of the country, it's also not clear how much of its own resources Ukraine controls. Even those in Ukrainian hands could be subject to attack, making any investment while the fighting continues a risky bet. Kyiv may be hoping that provides the US with a financial incentive to help end the war.